Welcome to the Uncle's channel. Thanks for watching today. Let's continue our journey to finish every single Game Boy and Game Boy Color game. And today focus on the only Shrek game ever released for the Game Boy, Shrek Fairy Tale Freakdown. And it's not going to be like a side-scrolling adventure game or like a puzzle game. It's just going to be a 1 versus 1 brawler or a 1 versus 1 fighter. And there are some aspects that are like really good as far as like holding true to like some of the Shrek characters or some of the Shrek animations. And then there are like some aspects that are just like mind-boggling bad when it comes like to some of the controls or like how the game plays. And so, and even some of the animations. So like you have really good animations, but then you also have some like really bad animations. And so like a really mixed game that I think the majority of players out there, if they purchased it back in the day, would probably be disappointed. But let's go ahead and dive into Shrek Fairy Tale Freakdown. Now, I always like to start the videos off looking at the box art for the game first. And the box art for Shrek here, it pretty much is a scene directly from the movie or the same animation as the movie. Has Shrek in the center of the ring getting ready to toss one of the soldiers or one of the guards. Has all of the fairy tale creatures or all the fairyland creatures all around. And you get to play as a lot of these in the game. I think there's like 9 playable characters, but there's a lot that you don't get to play as. Like you don't get to play as the bear in the background, Goldilocks and the 3 bears. You don't get to play as the 3 little pigs or the witch or even the donkey. Like that's a really missed opportunity. You don't get to play as the donkey in the Shrek game either. And honestly, the donkey should have been like the main character you play as. But regardless, there are a lot of playable characters that you can go through the game as. But the cover itself is showing you this is a fighting game. It's a brawler. And I feel like it's a fine cover for the game. Now, when you start the game up here, it pretty much throws you like immediately into the deep end as far as like some of the weird animations, because on the title screen it has Shrek right there in the center getting ready to crush a guard's head right between his hands. And I mean, obviously it's a little bit of a wrestling move, but at the same time, like Shrek just looks really weird in this picture. And like the coloring is like really sort of, I don't know, dark and depressing as well. It's just a really odd title screen. And the music behind it also very generic. And for the most part, the entire soundtrack is pretty generic. It's never going to be like anything from the Shrek movies. It doesn't really change a whole lot. And so I don't really have a lot to say about the soundtrack, except for what you hear right now is probably about as good as the soundtrack is going to get. Now, when you go to the menu, you get, once again, another weird little picture of Shrek here. And you have 4 options. You can either play the game, a password, a practice, or the options. And to play the game is just simply going to be go through all the fighters, as in like an arcade mode. Password is if you want to save your game at any point, which I don't really know why you would, because the game takes like maybe 20 to 30 minutes to finish. Really short game. Practice is if you want to simply go into it and just sort of practice your skills or your special moves. And then options allows you to change the difficulty of the game. And the options screen here, like the donkey's head looks like a hurt emotional boot right there in the middle. Just another weird animation. And I promise not all the animations are like weird and bad in the game. Some of them are really good. It's just sort of starting out the gate here, throwing the odd ones at us. But then we go ahead and load up the main game mode here, and there's a lot of Shrek characters that you can choose from, but my favorite one is missing from the roster. I really wanted to play as Puss in Boots because I actually really enjoy those movies quite a bit. He's like my favorite Shrek character, but I realized like he's not until the second movie, and this game is based on the first Shrek game, so my favorite character is not on the roster. But you can play as Shrek, the Big Bad Wolf, Pinocchio, Monsieur Hood, Princess Fiona, Felonious, and there's a lot of like hidden characters as well that you're going to unlock pretty much in your first playthrough here. And the unlockable characters will be the dragon, as well as the gingerbread man, Lord Farquaad, and I think that's it, but there's another one. We'll get to it in the main video here. But for the most part, most of these sprites look pretty darn good. The only one that looks like sort of weird here is going to be Shrek, and it's just like odd that he's like the main character of this game, and he's the sprite that they continually mess up the most as you're going to play through here. Like the sprite for Shrek just like always looks bad. Now when it comes to which character I'm going to pick, I choose Pinocchio pretty much because I'm coming off a high of playing Lies of P on the PS5, and I just really enjoy the character at the moment, even though like the character Pinocchio in the Shrek movies is not my favorite. I just simply went ahead and chose him because of Lies of P. Now the first level you're going to fight through is going to be the forest, and every time you go into a level it's going to show you like a little preview screen of like what the graphics are going to be for the background, and some of them are like pretty darn good, and some of them are going to be like look like they've been drawn in like Microsoft Paint maybe, sort of a meh screen. The forest is going to be one of the more of the meh backgrounds. But when you go into the actual level here, you're going to fight against the Big Bad Wolf. And for the most part, like this first level, I didn't understand like at all what I was doing. I just simply pressed A and B a few times, and I just killed the Big Bad Wolf like without even like realizing what was happening. And I'm not playing on the easy difficulty. I played on the default medium difficulty. And this boss went down in like no time, and I didn't really even understand the mechanics of the game, except press A and press B, and you sort of do different punch moves with Pinocchio. That's all I understood, and this level was over in no time, so I don't have a whole lot to say about the Big Bad Wolf stage. However, when you go into the next stage, which is going to be the village, I actually like the artwork a pretty good bit ahead of time. And you go in here and you're actually going to fight against yourself. So it's going to be Pinocchio versus Pinocchio. And holy cow, talk about a difficulty spike. I bet I lost probably 10 times minimum against Pinocchio as I was going up to fight him here. Every time I go in here, he just simply used special moves or just be way faster than me and would just destroy me before I even got a chance. Now the village level itself allows you a little bit more mobility. You of course can run back and forth and hop on like different rooftops, and it's a pretty cool little level here. And I was slowly trying to keep my distance here and learn some of the moves. A and B on Pinocchio are both punch moves. One's just simply going to be like a small punch of the hand, and the other one is more like an extension punch, I guess, from like the puppet arm going out and attacking your enemy. But as far as like the controls of the game, it's not very responsive. Like you press left or right to start running, it doesn't always run as quickly as you want. Sometimes you don't run at all. The block move is sort of to hold back, but at the same time, if you press it too fast, you start running. And like, there's just, the mechanics are just not tight at all in the game. And every time you lose, yes, you know it's your fault, but at the same time, you're like, some of the controls just didn't fit right or fit well as I was going through it. It's very loosey-goosey when it comes to the controls here. But eventually I did figure out, as if you press down and forward and then the A button, you can do what's called, or one of Pinocchio's special moves here, and I think it's where you throw out like a little puppet arm or a puppet hand out, and you can attack the enemy as a projectile. And when I started doing that, I was actually able to take a pretty decent amount of his health away, and I was able to take out Pinocchio pretty darn quickly. The only reason I knew about that special move is because Pinocchio kept doing it to me, and I began to figure out how to copy his moves. I think there are other special moves, like you can you do like a little jump move and shoot your leg down, and there's also another move like you can shoot your nose out and hit the enemy. But I'm really going to stick to the puppet hand or the puppet arm that I can throw out as a projectile, because it is a tried and true move as we go through this entire arcade mode. Now the next level we're going to go into is going to be called the dungeon, and you get a question mark for your enemy, but it's going to be the gingerbread man, and once you defeat him, you can unlock him in the main game. And I actually really enjoyed the animation for the gingerbread man here. He has like little candy canes for his stilts, and you can also like get them down and use them as like swords or knife weapons. And I don't know if that's in the movie or not, I don't remember it, but it very well could be like an animation from the film as far as like using the candy canes as weapons. You can let me know in the comments down below if I've forgotten a core Shrek memory or a core Shrek moment here. But I really enjoyed the animation for the gingerbread man, and for the most part, a lot of the characters have like really good animations as far as like harkening back to the movies or just simply looking like the actual movie characters. Like even Pinocchio, my main character, I think looks pretty darn close to how he does in the actual film here. But the gingerbread man is a pretty, once again, is a pretty steep difficulty hike here, and he keeps shooting out this one projectile. I guess it's like a bullet or like a gumdrop or like a chocolate piece. I don't know what he's shooting at you, but he shoots it out so fast, like I can't get any of my moves out. And the only way I can ever defeat the gingerbread man is just simply to hop over that one simple projectile. And when I hop in the air, go ahead and press my down and forward and my A button. And when I hit the ground, it shoots out my projectile and it goes off and hits him. And I immediately jump back up in the air again. And I continue doing the same move over and over until the gingerbread man is taken out. This is an odd fight because like it seems like the gingerbread man could have some pretty cool moves, but the computer never does any of them except for this projectile, which allows me to also spam my moves if they want to spam their moves. It's the only way to have a fair fight against a character like the gingerbread man. But like I said, once you defeat him, you do unlock him, and you get a pretty good little animation here of the gingerbread man in the pixelated form as best as they can for the actual Shrek movie. I don't think it's too bad looking here. Then we're going to head on into the swamp, and the swamp is going to be going up against Shrek. And once again, horrible animation for Shrek. He looks absolutely terrible. When you fight him in the actual game here, the pixelated form doesn't look great, but you at least know it is Shrek. But all of the Shrek moves are like perfectly Shrek. Like he can fart on you, he can do like a little slam move, do like a body slam. Like every one of Shrek's moves is like completely in line with the Shrek character. And I just think it's wonderful. Like it seems like so many of the characters in the game, especially from like this point on, they're going to line up nearly identical to how the characters acted in the movie. And it just amazes me they took all the effort and all the time to map out these animations to match up with the actual movie stills. And I don't know, I think it's pretty cool. It's just too bad the game couldn't control better and just really focus on tightening down this gameplay to bring in all of these cool moves. And even when like Shrek kills me off here, like he does a little dance here, a little boogie, and it looks exactly like something Shrek would do in the movie. Like a little Shrek shuffle, as I'm going to call it. It's obnoxious, yes, but at the same time, Shrek is an obnoxious character. But I died a lot of times by simply falling into the hole of the swamp here, and I thought to myself, if I can fall in the hole, Shrek can also fall in the hole. And so I began to sort of jump around a lot more, trying to sort of bait him into falling into the hole. And sure enough, Wasn't too long before Shrek fell into the hole himself, and I won the battle that way. And those are some of my favorite ways to have victories in these games, where you sort of, manipulate the environment a little bit and have them fall into a hazard. I love it when it happens in pretty much any game, including this one. Now the next level is going to be the Dark Forest, and you're going to go up against Monsieur Hood, or Robin Hood here, and he has a nice little bow animation, and even like when he defeats you, he does like a little twirl that's just like exactly how he had in the movie. And as I said, the animations line up very well with the characters inside the film. And I lost several times to him. I ended up falling in the hole. It's even like only one single hole right there in the middle. I fell in the hole a good bit just simply because the controls are not the best here. And the only way I could finally defeat him is if I just simply spammed my one special move over and over, which is throwing out that little puppet hand or that puppet arm. And I would just stand in front of him and just do the same move over and over and over, and I was able to take him out. That's the only way like I could figure it out. And at this point, you are going to unlock like special abilities in the game. You're going to unlock a new power called Invincibility, a new power called Speed, and a new power called Ogre Strength. Now, how you do any of those moves, I don't actually know. I couldn't figure out any of them, but evidently I unlocked 3 powers all at once in the game. And I really feel like if you're going to unlock special abilities, the game should like tell you how to use those special abilities, or maybe even like scatter them about a little bit. So like every few levels you unlock one special ability and let you learn that one, but they just sort of bombard you with all 3. It feels like they sort of did a mass dump of special moves on you, and it's just simply too much for the average player, or at least for me in fighting games, to want to pursue here. Now the next level is going to be the bridge, and it is a really cool looking level, and I like the little still here. It looks very close to the movie itself, and obviously going into the bridge you're going to fight against the dragon, and the dragon here looks absolutely nothing like she does in the movie, and the animations for the dragon, especially when she starts sort of convulsing here, I don't know what the heck she's doing, but looks terrible animation wise. But the dragon's a good bit more difficult. Shoots out like a little fire projectile at you. But I did figure out if you can get the dragon up on this platform and you stand on the edge of the platform, she's just going to continue doing the same fire move over and over, and you just simply wait till the fire move comes out, jump up, throw out my one projectile again, hits her, I go back down and just simply wait for that one single move to continue to happen, and she never tries to pursue me anymore, and the dragon fight is over in like no time. But once you defeat the dragon, you've unlocked her inside the game, and a really good still animation here of the dragon, pretty represented, pretty close to what she looks like in the film. And so that's what I mean, like the animations are like so hit and miss. Some of them are like really good, line with the movie perfectly, and then some are like just really, really bad. And I don't know, it almost feels like there were 2 different animators for the game, and they just simply both did their own style for the game, and then when it came time to like sort of put them all together, they didn't try to make them cohesive or to make sense together. They just took their individual drawings and pushed them together to make the game, and one artist was clearly better than the other one when it came to creating the sprites and the still pictures for the game. Now up next is going to be the castle level. You're going to go up against Princess Fiona, and her moves line up once again with the movie. She can sing at you, she can do like these little matrix moves, and also like when she wins she has like a little sassy dance that she does. I mean, it fits perfectly with her character. She can't like transform into being like Shrek, or her version of Shrek, or the female Shrek, whatever she's called in the movie. But overall they did a great job with her actual character animations here. And there's tons of holes you can fall into, and I tried to sort of bait her into falling into some of the holes, but I never could like line it up just right. And the only way I could actually defeat her is just simply to spam once again my special move over and over and over, and that's the only way I could actually defeat her. Evidently, when it comes to fighting games like this, and they're just simply hard to control, I just default into doing the same move over and over, and for the most part it's going to work wonderfully, except for when I get to the final boss here. But our next level is going to be the wrestling ring. We're going to go up against Felonious, and this one looks exactly like it does in the movie. It makes complete sense for like the scenery in the movie, and I just simply spammed the same move. I didn't even like give him a chance to like try out any of his moves, and I took him out pretty quickly. Then you go into the mirror room, and you're going to go up against Lord Farquaad. And this is a really difficult fight because like he can block endlessly, it seems like, and he has these weird moves. Like, so if you block, he can like jump on top of your head, and there's like a little dance on top of your head. I don't remember him doing that in the movie, but it's possible. It fits with his character type here, and he's really hard. Like if I want to spam my special move, he just blocks it, and I can't simply spam the one move. And so I figure out my only strategy to like sort of defeat him is simply to jump backwards. And as I'm jumping backwards, go ahead and program in to do my little projectile, and as soon as I'm in the air in front of him, I can throw the projectile out, I land, I jump backwards again, and when I'm lined up with him, I shoot out my projectile, hit him that way, and the only way I can defeat him is to like really keep my distance and shoot my projectile out that way while trying to avoid all of his attacks. If I get too close to him, like the game or the match is completely over. And once you defeat Lord Farquaad, you do unlock him in the game as well, so you can play as any of these special characters next time you play through the game. And of course it then says Champion Pinocchio, and that's it. There's no like ending credit screen or anything like that. It just simply says Champion Pinocchio or Champion whichever character you choose to play as, and the game is over. And so as far as like a fighting game goes, there are some like really cool positive aspects to it. The character animations, the charm of Shrek, I do feel like it is in this game. Like if you love the Shrek movies and you just simply want to see the Shrek animations or the Shrek moves in a little scene here, I feel like you cannot go wrong for this particular one. I have no idea what just happened to the electricity there. I assume I'm still live on my stuff here. I think it's going well, but yeah, electricity just like blinked out on me. But like I said, if you enjoy Shrek and you enjoy the character animations, a sense of humor, and you simply want to see that in an 8-bit style or a Game Boy pixelated style, I feel like the game's going to serve that particular purpose. But if you want a smooth gameplay experience, this is not your kind of game. It's very floaty. The moves that you punch in don't always seem to line up with what your character actually does. It's hard to execute some of the backup moves and some of the jump moves. And it's just very difficult to control. That's the best way I can put it. If the game controlled better, I feel like this could have been a pretty decent game. But it controls very poorly. And so even with the Shrek charm, I feel like I can't give it too high of a score because of that, which is a shame because like there is some stuff to like inside the game. So overall, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give Shrek Fairy Tale Freakdown, I'm going to give it a 4 or 5. We're going to just go right in the middle. A 4.5 for Shrek's Fairy Tale Freakdown. And if you're a Shrek fan, there is something to enjoy in the game. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Check out my other videos listed up above. And as always, go out there, find a great game to play. Simply have a great rest of the day.